some, their anger is a weakness, but for others, their fury can lead to their greatest strength, such is the case with Broly and Asura.
Both of these giant, powerful brutes are definitely forces to be reckoned with in their own rights. But when pitted against each other, only one will be allowed to walk out alive. Tonight, we rewind Rumble!
Oh, I wanted to say that.
Let's start things off with Broly. When he was only born, this kid had a power level of 10,000.
Just out of the womb, and he's already stronger than Raditz.
He's also much stronger than Nappa. Isn't that worth noting too?
Yeah, but Raditz is just too easy of a target.
Fair point. Anyway, frightened by the child's power, King Vegeta ordered Broly's execution and stabbed him through the chest with a dagger, as well as wounding Broly's father Paragus and leaving them both for dead.
Then came the fateful moment when the tyrannical Lord Frieza sent his supernova attack towards planet Vegeta in order to destroy it. All hope seemed lost for Broly and his father as their species was on the verge of extinction. But right before the attack hit the planet, Broly awakened his inner power and carried himself and his father off the exploding planet. Keep in mind, this is a newborn child who just been stabbed in the chest.
Yeah, not even a year old, and he's already surpassed basically every other Saiyan alive. But how about Asura? Where'd he start off?
12,000 years before the game took place,
Asura
lived a happy life. Believe it or not, but he wasn't always the roid rage monster we've come to know and love.
Asura isn't the kind of guy you expect to be a family man, but that's what he started out as. Living a normal happy life with his wife Durga and his daughter Mithra.
Of course, a happy life doesn't always equal a peaceful one, and Asura certainly did see his fair share of action, and he did keep himself well trained.
But things took a turn for the worse for Asura when his daughter was appointed as priestess. This angered Asura as he didn't want his own daughter to get involved in any kind of war.
Asura was then framed for killing the Emperor. This is when things started to get real bad for the guy. His wife was murdered, his daughter was kidnapped, not to mention the fact that all of his godly powers were taken away and he was banished into a world between life and death.
You mean purgatory. He was banished to purgatory. Anyway, let's change gears for a moment and go back to Broly. More specifically, what kinds of abilities he has.
Like many other Dragon Ball characters, Broly is able to manipulate ki, which allows him to fly and launch energy attacks at his foes.
Some examples of his ki attacks are the Eraser Cannon, a green energy ball which does a lot more damage than a basic ki blast. Broly can also launch a barrage of Eraser Cannons in order to hit with as much force as he possibly can.
But his greatest technique is the Omega Blaster, a tiny ball of green ki that Broly throws at his targets. As it travels, this ball drastically increases in size to the point where even Broly himself is tiny compared to it.
Not only can Broly use ki for offense, but he can also use it very well defensively.
He can surround himself with a ki barrier that can survive dips into molten lava and even withstood a family Kamehameha.
But Broly doesn't just rely on his ki blast for his different techniques. He's quite happy to use his bare hands for different methods of torture. Whether it be grabbing his opponents and throwing them, grappling them and digging his knee into their spine, or just knocking them on the ground and jumping on them like they're a trampoline.
Asura has his fair share of abilities and techniques too. Though he can't fly like Broly, he still can fire energy blasts, and he's also a master martial artist.
Asura has some pretty useful techniques that he can use in battle, such as the rapid fire, which is exactly what it says on the tin. A bunch of energy blasts that Asura can launch rapid fire.
The lock-on fire is also quite self-explanatory. It's a bunch of energy blasts that lock on to whoever Asura fires them at.
There's also his burst technique. It releases a unique attack depending on the situation, kinda like a Bobo's full rage move in a Bobo's Big Adventure.
But what really matters for these guys is their raw strength, and there are more transformations they have that can boost their insane strength even further.
For Broly, he has access to the Super Saiyan form, which has basically become every Saiyan's birthright at this moment.
Yeah, but Broly has access to something nobody else does. The legendary Super Saiyan form.
Legendary Super Saiyan? But wasn't the original Super Saiyan form already considered legendary? And if so, does this mean Broly is a legendary Super Saiyan that Frieza feared?
Those are debates for another time. Let's talk about Asura and some of his forms, starting with Vajra Asura.
Not only does this form immensely boost his strength, but it also gives him 2 extra sets of arms. I wonder if he uses them for anything besides combat.
Note to self, never think about Asura's potential internet search history.
Dear God, the depths your mind will sink to are unreal.
Moving on before any of this gets more awkward, there's also Berserker Asura, though this form turns him into a savage beast and can be burnt out. It also gives him 2 extra sets of arms. But his Vajra form also gives him extra arms. Why would he use the Berserker form over that?
Well, yeah, but the arms that the Berserker form gives him are on fire.
I'm unimpressed.
They're also on his back, which means they can let him itch those hard-to-reach places.
Oh, well, I retract my previous claim.
That's much more like it. Anyway, next up is Mantra Asura, the form Asura gains after bathing in the Mantra of Wrath.
While it doesn't give him any extra arms, it does give the 2 arms he has a whole lot of bulk.
But enough about all those forms that don't matter in the long run. Asura's greatest form is his Asura the Destructor form. Not only does it give him extra arms...
Seriously, what's with all the forms that have extra arms? And why is it just barely not enough for me to make memes about Asura being a spider?
Because that would be dumb. Anyway, not only does it give him extra arms, but this form even makes Asura bigger than the planet Earth itself, which is very impressive.
He can even shrink into a smaller version of this form. It looks like Mantra Asura, except it has 6 arms because we couldn't just have one form of Asura that didn't give him 6 arms.
Yeah, but what good is having all these forms and abilities if you can't do anything with them? So let's get into their stats, starting with what BROLY can do.
BROLY is insanely strong. Even as a restricted Super Saiyan, BROLY was able to destroy an entire galaxy, planet by planet, solar system by solar system in just a few years. Stack his sand multipliers on top of that, there's no way Broly's gonna back off like some beta.
And it doesn't help anyone who BROLY faces that his power is constantly rising, though this power does have a limit to how high it can get.
BROLY is also incredibly tough to put down. His pain tolerance is insane. He shrugged off punches from Super Saiyans and even walked through Super Saiyan Goku's Kamehameha like it was lights or gusts of wind.
Yep, the power level of this guy is ridiculous. Even the combined efforts of Goku, Vegeta, Future Trunks, Gohan, and Piccolo struggled to even put up a fight against him. And that was before he got beaten near the brink of death and brought back and gained an enormous Zenkai boost, which increases power even further.
Yeah, after the Zenkai boost, he was able to hold back a family Kamehameha from Goku, Gohan, and Goten.
But just because he's powerful doesn't mean he's slow. BROLY is easily massively faster than light, being able to keep up with the likes of Goku, Gohan, Future Trunks, Piccolo, Vegeta, Goten, and Kid Trunks.
And he's proved that if he wanted to, he could easily avoid any attack thrown his way, as shown when he dodged a flurry of punches from Goku Piccolo at once without even trying.
However, BROLY clearly prefers to just tank these attacks head on, but we'll get more into that soon. For now, let's discuss Asura.
Asura is incredibly strong, being able to hold back the finger of a being who towered over planet Earth, and he wasn't even in his final form.
He was also able to destroy a machine that has had immeasurable power. Then again, immeasurable isn't the same as infinite. Saitama is immeasurable, but he sure as heck ain't infinite. It's the same case here.
Asura is also very difficult to put down. Not only can he destroy planets, stars, solar systems, and galaxies being thrown his way, but he can also tank them.
And his physicality increases with his wrath. When pushed to his absolute limit, he was able to defeat Chakravartin, who is basically God.
Much like BROLY, just because Asura is strong, it doesn't mean he's slow.
He's able to punch faster than the eye can see, cross the distance of 26,000 light years between Gaia and the center of the Milky Way in minutes, and even avoid celestial bodies like stars and galaxies being thrown at him by Chakravartin.
Both of these guys are monstrously powerful, blitzingly fast, and incredibly overpowered, but neither are perfect and both can be defeated.
BROLY isn't exactly a strategist, and he's overconfident to the point where he'll take attacks he could easily avoid.
He also has a weak spot on his abdomen, and just one powerful enough attack towards that area could put him out of commission.
And while his power rapidly rises, there is a cap to how high it can reach, and if he reaches that peak, his ki could start to overflow and it could possibly leave him in serious danger.
As for Asura, he also isn't exactly a genius strategist, and his power comes entirely from his wrath. The angrier he gets, the stronger he gets. However, this means that when starting to battle, Asura won't be at his best.
Both of these characters are definitely forces to be reckoned with, but when pitted against each other and only one can survive, who will walk away the victor? It's time to rewind Rumble!
I would really appreciate it if you did not take my lines.
Well, that's too bad. Now let's get into this fight already.
And now, let's set ourselves a circumstance. Let's do humanity a favor and keep these two as far away as possible from populated zones, preferably a desert. No preparation, these guys won't use it anyway, at least not against each other. And one super important thing that I can't make clear enough, this animation you're about to see is not a simulation. There's going to be forms and crazy things that aren't factored into the research. Once that circumstance bar has finally loaded, it's time to rewind rumble.
You're not KAKAROT! When the doors are back! I will kill you! Going to enjoy this!
Ready? Go!
Out of your misery right now! I'll destroy this entire pack!
Hopefully you enjoyed that animation, which was not a simulation by the way, and if you did, super special thanks to Team Animation Rewind's JustZino. I'd also like to thank a researcher and co-host of this episode, your favorite Canadian YouTuber who has his own Versus series known as Show Off Showdown. This couldn't be done without the scriptwriter and researcher MLG Avocado and of course research from BTL Video Productions. Thanks and enjoy the post-analysis.
Oh boy, here come the BROLY fanboys.
Oh, come on, they can't be that bad.
No, you don't understand. They'll tear you limb from limb.
Maybe, just maybe they can be calm and rational if we have a descriptive post-analysis.
I doubt it, but let's try and hope for the best.
Sounds good. Now let's start with speed. Broly may be fast enough to keep up with the massively faster than light Z fighters and cover a galaxy in just a few years while he's destroying it, but Asura does top this speed.
While covering the area of a galaxy is impressive, you want to know what's even more impressive? Reacting to galaxies being thrown at you by God. Broly is crazy fast, don't get us wrong, but he hasn't shown any speed feats that stack up to this.
When it comes to strength, Broly doesn't exactly have any impressive measurable lifting strength feats. The best we can do is compare them to Super Saiyan Goku after his battle with Cell, since that's when they fought.
As a kid, Goku was able to lift a giant boulder bigger than himself. If you remember back to Kid Goku vs. Classic Sonic back on Cartoon Fight Club, that boulder was estimated to weigh around 350 tons.
At the start of the Saiyan saga, Goku had the power level around 416. Kid Goku had a power level of roughly 180, so an increase of roughly 2.3 times. This means that Saiyan saga Goku could lift around 805 tons. After that, Goku was able to train under 10 times normal gravity on King Kai's planet, then 100 times normal gravity in the gravity chamber. This brings his maximum strength up to 80,500 tons. Add on the Super Saiyan multiplier and that puts the lifting strength of Super Saiyan Goku during his fight with Frieza at 4,025,000 tons.
It's unknown how much stronger Goku got from the Frieza saga right before the Cell games, which is likely when the first Broly movie takes place since Gohan is a Super Saiyan and Goku is still alive. But let's give him the benefit of the doubt and say he grew in strength 100 times. This puts his strength at roughly around 402,500,000 tons. And let's say Broly is 5 times stronger than that. This puts Broly's strength at over 2 billion tons. If we assume his Zenkai boost he got after being beaten near the brink of death after the first movie doubled his power, and add on the multiplier to legendary Super Saiyan 3, that gives us a maximum lifting strength of 32,200,000,000 tons for Broly. So 32.2 billion tons. That's very impressive, but Asura can definitely top that. Even when in just his base 6-armed form, he was able to hold back the finger of the planet-sized Wizen that was being pushed towards the planet.
Ignoring the force that the rest of his body was using to push the finger into the earth, this finger alone easily towered over mountains which can weigh billions of tons, and Azura was not only able to stop it dead in its tracks, but push it back.
That's not even counting any of Asura's other forms. Heck, his destructor form towers over Earth itself, so he should reasonably be able to lift it. And the Earth has a mass of nearly 6 sextillion tons, so Asura clearly takes the lifting strength edge.
In terms of striking strength and taking ki out of the equation and only looking at how hard they can punch, Broly was able to go toe-to-toe with the Z fighters, the strongest of which being Goku. Through scaling, this should make Broly at least multi-star level to solar system level, since Super Saiyan Goku could fight nearly evenly with Perfect Cell, who should be around half the power of the solar system level Perfect Cell, and Broly was able to casually toy around with Goku even when he had help from 4 other Z fighters.
But Asura has punched holes through galaxy-sized enemies before, so the striking strength edge definitely goes to Asura.
But clearly, Broly is a lot more powerful and destructive when his ki is factored in, so let's see how that stacks up next to Asura.
Over the course of several years, Broly was able to destroy the entire South Galaxy as a restricted Super Saiyan. This doesn't exactly make him galaxy level since he didn't do it all at once, but it does put him in the high ends of multi-solar system level.
But again, that is just a restricted Super Saiyan. He could have easily got the job done much quicker at full power.
So let's round that up and say Broly is galaxy level. Asura was casually destroying galaxies during his battle with Chakravartin, and he was even able to fight on par with and defeat the guy. I don't know about you, but I haven't seen Broly do anything on that level of casual galaxy busting and beating the crap out of the universe's god.
So yeah, it's pretty clear that Asura takes the power edge. The same applies to durability. Asura casually tanked galaxies being thrown at him, and even tanked hits from the same guy throwing these galaxies. Very impressive seeing that he's the creator of Asura's universe.
And Broly's ki output is mostly equal to the amount of force he can withstand. So while it's possible he could be able to take much more damage than he can dish out, and he could have durability that rivals Asura's, he doesn't seem to have any feats backing that up.
Intelligence is a tricky category to pick for, but it really isn't one that matters too much. Both are brutes that act purely out of rage. Asura may be the better hand-to-hand fighter, but it's not like that's going to matter in the long run.
As for experience, Asura is over 12,000 years old. You tell me who's more experienced between the two.
Now before we wrap things up, there are a few more points that need to be addressed.
While it's true that Asura needs to have his wrath pushed to the limit for his greatest feats, and Broly could very well take down a base form Asura at the start of the battle, that's not exactly how Broly likes to fight his battles.
Broly is the kind of guy that will intentionally toy with someone just to piss them off and make them angry, and against Asura, that's the last thing you'd want to do.
Broly also tends to stand and tank attacks from opponents he perceives as weaker, and against someone who can do some serious damage to him like Asura, that mistake would be fatal.
Many of Asura's forms also give him extra arms, usually 6, that would give Asura enough arms to hold down Broly's limbs and still have a pair left over to beat him senseless with.
Also, unlike Broly, Asura doesn't have an exploitable weak spot. However, Broly does. One last thing to point out is that when Asura reaches his limit, he's fine. But when Broly reaches his limit, his ki can start to overflow and he can be in some serious danger. Not to mention, Broly has an exploitable weak spot, is in danger when reaching his limit, and his fighting style is literally the worst one to use when fighting against someone like Asura.
And I think that's pretty much everything, so to sum it up, Broly may be very fast and powerful, but Asura takes pretty much every statistical advantage. So sorry Broly, you did put up a good fight, but in the end you just ended up succumbing to Asura's wrath, making the winner of this battle, Asura. I can hear the rage comments already. How come you used Broly SSJ4 in the animation but didn't factor into the research? Well, if you really want us to factor into the research that bad, all you have to do is like this video. If you want to see a rematch with Dragon Ball Heroes Broly research factored in, then give this video some likes. If this video gets a total of 4,000 likes, such a rematch will be put into production. Don't forget to comment down your own ideas, don't forget to download the free AnimationRewind apps, and stay tuned as the next fighters are going to be revealed on the next episode of Rewind Rumble.